It's Platt, and today's episode is going to be plum crazy. That's next to Platt's Drink of the Week. All right, guys, got another fun video planned for you. Something a little different today. We're going to try Kikkoman Plum wine. I purchased this bottle at $7.99. It comes in at 11.5% alcohol. Let's check out the label. Something a little different for us. Kikkoman Plum wine with natural flavors. We've ran into natural flavors before. On the bottom it says vinted and bottled by JFC International Vineyards, Singer, California. On the back, it gives us a couple serving suggestions before dinner. Maybe make you a nice wine cooler. 1 part plum wine, 2 parts your favorite mixer. After dinner, a great sweet dessert wine. And they even suggest a plum spritzer for any time consumption. So, interesting little bottle here. Plum wine's not something we consume a ton of in America. Probably the first thing some of you might have noticed, I know for me, that jumped out was the Kikkoman, because I was like, well, isn't that a brand of soy sauce? And it is. A little background onto Kikkoman, the parent company. Founded in 1917 in Noda, Japan. It was a merger of 8 different families and their companies into just one giant conglomerate. Some of the family businesses, the Mogi and the Takanashi families, dated all the way back to 1603. So now we're looking at over 400 years of some of these family businesses. So definitely a lot of tradition, a lot of history. The company was originally known as the Noda Shua. Hopefully I'm not butchering that too bad. The Noda Shua Company. Apparently Shua is a style of soy sauce, and they are the world's #1 producer of that soy sauce style, and they brought it here to the U.S., and you probably see their products everywhere. Besides producing soy sauce, they are a major conglomerate. They have other businesses, things like banks, biotechs, restaurant chains, and a wine and liquor division, which this is a product of. Now, what is plum wine? Most of the plum wine we consume here in the U.S. is not wine as we traditionally think about it. It's more of a liqueur. In Japan, they use the term Umeshu. Again, hopefully pronouncing that right. And it's a fortified, it's really more like a fortified wine. They will take Japanese plums, which are green in color, not the dark, deep purple, of what we would consider a traditional plum, and they macerate that in a spirit. Generally, it's soju, which we've talked about on this channel before. Some manufacturers, though, will use brandy and or sake for macerating the plums, but that's how it's created. And over there in Japan, they use it in some of their cocktails. There's the Umeshu sour, which is a whiskey sour just with the plum wine instead of whiskey. Also, too, apparently some bars over there will substitute plum wine in cocktails that would use a sweet vermouth. Think of things like Manhattan or Rob Roy. And I could definitely see those making, really kind of a unique twist on some of those cocktails. Japanese whiskeys tend to model scotches. So again, a Rob Roy with plum wine, that does sound kind of unique. Now, when we think of traditional wine, probably the product that's close to it is something called plum jerkum. That's actually an English product. It's basically plum cider, so it's a little bit lower on the ABV scale. They use a traditional kind of the deep purple plum, and it's not it's not a vastly popular drink, but in certain sections, I think the Worcestershire area of England, I think it's a popular drink over there. Now, what do we have in this bottle? Because you see plum, and I read the label, and nowhere it said fortified spirits. So here in the States, if anything had additional spirits added to it, it would be somewhere on the label, and they do not have it here. So from what I'm reading, this is actually an actual wine, a fermented product. JFC International Wines, also known as Gibson Wines, they produce a full line of wines in California, including some fortified wines, things like California Port, Sherry, Madeira, Marsala. what have you. So, and apparently they also have plums for that, but that's who produces this for Kikkoman. So with that being said, let's jump in and taste some plum wine. All right, color-wise, this looks like I've spilt a little Pinot Noir into my white Zinfandel. Much deeper color than white Zin, but you can kind of see through. Whoa, nose, I could get kind of a sweetness on the nose. You can almost smell a viscosity, if that makes any sense. Yeah, pretty simple smell. There's kind of a fruit funk to it also. Let's go ahead and dive on in. Pleasantly sweet, not on the nose. It was telling me this is going to be a viscous product, but actually body-wise, not too bad. Plenty of sugars still left in there, so that does kind of add a certain viscosity to it. Fairly simple, not a lot of complexity. Sometimes in wines, if you're drinking like a Pinot Noir or something like that, you'll pick up other fruits, stone fruits, dark berry, what have you. Here, this pretty simple plum, not getting a lot of get a nice sweetness, get a little bit of that plum. The finish isn't that long. That being said, this is really nice, simple, sweet. Definitely, I could see doing things like spritzers or wine coolers with this. I think the sweetness and, more importantly, kind of simplicity of the thing. If you wanted to turn this, I could also see, now that I think about it, I could also see kind of sangria this thing up. Maybe a little fresh juice, maybe some rum in there and some pieces of fruit. I could see that really playing into it. Pretty nice, $7.99 for a 750 milliliter bottle. Pretty decent value. I don't know enough about plums and pairing plum wine with food, so I'm not sure what kind of foods. I do know sweeter wines also work with spicy dishes, so maybe some of the spicy Asian Szechuan style cooking or whatever, maybe this could be a nice compare contrast with. But overall, pretty pleasant. I don't know if this is something I would consume all the time. However, if I was out on occasion, someone offered me one, I would definitely not turn it down. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or things in the liquor store you'd like me to try, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bombs up.